One of my favorite platformers ever is VVVVVV. It's an absolute classic that proves that games can be fantastic even with the simplest of graphics. So when given the opportunity to play Reiterate, a title made with similar philosophies in mind, I jumped right in. So let's see if it has what it takes to be a worthwhile platformer. Welcome to the channel. This is From the Void. Reiterate is a game made by a solo developer who also cataloged his development process on YouTube. It's rather interesting to follow the entire process of the development of a game, and it's also a clever move from the dev to gather attention to his upcoming game. From the get-go, he was clear about making his first commercial game as simple as possible in scope and graphics, and pretty much put all his efforts into making the game fun and engaging to play. And well, mission accomplished. The game is simple, short, fun, and even has a bit of a tantalizing carrot dangling just out of reach for the entire duration. It's not a particularly delicious looking carrot, but it gets the job done. And as a platformer, the gameplay is absolutely solid and has that one more try quality every time you die. So let's take a closer look as we score it to see how well it does its thing. Graphics and sound. In his devlogs, the creator is clear about not being an artist and how he cheated to create the illusion of decent graphics in the game. And admittedly, the graphics are more on the lacking side, but it has a glimpse of charm and style to it. It reminds me of the N games like N+. Your guy is almost a stick figure, but I like his animations. And the stage's backgrounds also work well to give it a sense of style, but it falls short on the animations for the hazards and the enemies. They look too bulky and too similar to each other. On the other hand, the music is excellent. Really, there are some great tracks here, and they go really well with the gameplay. The sound effects are also as simple as they can get, but work just okay. So in graphics and sound, I feel that the music compensated for the lacking graphics. So the score here is 1.2 out of 2, which represents well actually. The presentation is not bad, it actually works surprisingly well for how simplistic it is, but it's also far away from anything great. Gameplay and challenge. The gameplay in Reiterate is the highlight. There is a fluid quality to the movement, the jumping, double jumping, bouncing, sliding on walls, everything feels on point. There's also a slow down time mechanic. This is weird actually. You press a button and time slows down, but for everything equally. So using it feels like cheating, and it kind of is, since this was implemented as a assist mode equivalent. It is still difficult to pass some challenging sections even using this, but more so than feeling like cheating, it feels like a wasted opportunity. There is something to be said about moving in and out of the slow down time feature. It feels very good and could have been used to improve the gameplay itself. As for the challenge, the normal mode is comprised of 69 very short stages, where in several of them you will be potentially dying dozens of times. There are plenty of hard sections to pull off, and it complements the fluid nature of the gameplay, resulting in that one more try feeling every time you fail. And then there is the hard mode called Black Edition, which ramps up the challenge considerably and improves the enjoyment a lot if you like your platforming to be difficult. This is when the slowdown feature becomes almost mandatory, and when you get good at switching in and out of it, which results in some close calls which feel great. So all things considered, this is the best aspect of the game. Again, it doesn't go as far as reaching levels of excellency, but does a competent, satisfying job. It gets 1.5 out of 2 in gameplay and challenge. Bang for buck. In this category, you consider how much enjoyment is there to be had compared to the game's price. Reiterate is being released at the full price of $5.99. It's not very expensive, and I had 3 entire hours of fun with this game, so I would not complain. Problem is that this will only be the case for those who like the more challenging Black Edition. Otherwise, the normal mode is only around 1 hour. There is also a dedicated speedrun mode, which is a neat addition, but too niche to make a big difference here. In the end, I don't think it's a bad bang for buck value here, but it falls short in comparison with other options out there. So this gets a 1 out of 2 in bang for buck. The sauce. The sauce is the main aspect of any game. It's the special thing that binds all other aspects of the game together and gives it a particular taste. Reiterate has more to offer than it seems at first glance. Believe it or not, there is a story here even. It's again a simple one as everything else in the game, but a story nonetheless, and an intriguing sci-fi one at that. For the entire game, you find yourself wondering what is happening and who are the people talking to you and what is this place you're in exactly. It works well as an additional encouragement to surpass the difficult sections, but it ends on a cliffhanger of sorts that kind of throws the build-up it created down the drain. The story does not continue in the Black Edition mode. Instead, it replaces it with a fourth wall breaking conversation with the player that can be amusing. But the star of the show for this category is the level design. There are lots of well thought out stages in this game, and adding that to the tight controls and the awesome soundtrack, we have a mix of features that ends up being satisfying. The game is simple throughout, but you can clearly see the careful work put into it. So in sauce material, Reiterate gets a positive 2.6 out of 4. And there we have it. The final score is 6.3 out of 10. I just want to be as clear as possible here that anything above 5 is positive in my reviews. I realize that that's not the perception that most have, but it's how I do it. 6.3 is actually far from mediocre. It's a good time if you like this genre, but I would recommend it more for the dedicated platforming fans. And that's it for the review. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.